Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our sip clip of the week. And with us, we have a very special guest. We have Katherine Copeland, who has joined our team. Hello, Katherine.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, Katherine.
We're super excited to have you with us.
Super excited.
Super excited that you joined our segments. I think you're going to bring a lot of interesting insight for our guests and for the program. And you're starting off with us with, in my opinion, a very special segment. Even though it sounds very broad and generic, we're going to be actually exploring the differences between Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris.
But let me say this. You say broad, but Foti, your information is so good. You teach so well that even a broad subject like this will go out. And now we have Katherine with us as well. It's going to be awesome. I may not even speak at all.
Perfect. well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. You know, Pinot Grigio has been at the forefront in the U.S. market for many, 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 many years. It's been a default wine in many, many places. It's been in many refrigerators across the country as the white wine of choice, right? But lately, it's been getting some downplay. Some people are actually getting a little bored of it, but because there's obviously other interesting wines, and a lot of our consumers and guests are starting to explore. But I still like Pinot Grigio.
Well,
don't get me wrong.
Let me ask Katherine a question. So before I got into wine at all, I would go to like weddings, I would go to events, whatever. And if I was with a date, if I was with a girl, it was almost like 100% that she would order a Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio. Now, in your experience, is that something that like rings true, or is that just something unique to my experience?
I think white wine in general is always the go-to. It's pretty much a safe bet, especially, it's a nice and light drink to have.
Yeah.
Pinot Grigio, especially.
Well, you just said an important key word there, Katherine, safe, right? So a lot of our folks like that safe factor because there's this fear of what if I don't like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
but yes.
Bold taste one way or the other. It's kind of a safe bet. Like
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So that experience is universal, I guess. To especially if you don't know wine, because I never really knew wine, and I would always get white wine. But let me tell you this: ever since I started hanging out with this guy, my palate has gotten so much like more. Like,
this is CrossFit for your palate. Is that a good way to put it?
It really is, dude. It really is. It's got so much more. And you know what, Katherine, if you spend too much time with Foti, it's going to happen to you too.
Well, here's the thing, man. I appreciate the kind words, but at the end of the day, for us, it's all about really breaking it down and showing an understanding and appreciation for everything that's out there wine related. And we chose this subject because it's always overlooked. Like no one's really talking about Pinot Grigio as much anymore. And then suddenly, not too long ago, maybe in the last handful of years, we start to see a presence of Pinot Gris, right? Pinot Gris is another white wine that's in the market, and it's made its way through different local wine shops. Some great restaurants are pouring it by the glass around the country. But there's always this curiosity factor of what is Pinot Gris? Have you ever thought about that?
I have, because I heard people talk about Pinot Gris. I heard people talk about Pinot Grigio. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell the difference is, but is there a difference?
Did you ever think for 1 second that there might be some connection? Pinot Grigio, Pinot Gris?
Foti, I don't think that deeply. So no, I haven't. Katherine, how about you?
Well, that's because you haven't had enough wine, my friend.
Wait, Katherine, sorry, repeat that, Katherine?
I always assumed that they were extremely similar. I would see the two different names on the menu.
Okay.
And I would assume that they were definitely both white and similar, but I never...
How about if I told you that Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris are the same grape?
I mean, I didn't know that.
All right.
I believe you.
So here's the deal, guys. So Pinot Grigio comes from Italy, and Pinot Grigio translates to a grape that has gray skins. So if you're ever to walk in the vineyards in Italy that grows Pinot Grigio, the grapes that are on the vines will have this like almost grayish, slightly pink tone to them, where other white grapes have a green tone to that color of the grape, right?
Yeah.
So they got it got its name from the skin color, gray skins.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that. I did not know that. That's interesting.
so the same grape, so Pinot Grigio grows throughout most of Europe, but in France, where it also grows, it's called Pinot Gris. That's the French term for a gray skin grape, Pinot Gris. So Pinot Grigio is Italian, Pinot Gris is French. Same grape, if that helps make it a little more clear. Now, Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris have been transported all over the world and has been planted everywhere. Australia, South Africa, most of Europe, the US, and even in South America. But depending on where it grows, producers choose to use either term. There's no right or wrong. In California, they plant plenty of Pinot Grigio now, lately, but some producers in California also refer to it as Pinot Gris. If Katherine can maybe give us a little bit of a experience not too long ago, you were at the wine shop maybe about an hour ago, right? Trying to pick up some of the wines. And I noticed you were rumbling off some California producers that had Pinot Gris on their label,
Yep.
right? So the only thing that I find interesting is that when you travel up north to Oregon, producers there refuse to call it Pinot Grigio and they go by Pinot Gris only.
Why?
Well, that's a good question. So in Oregon, they are very suited and very connected to the French wine culture. There's a lot of symbiotic connections because of different reasons. A lot of French winemakers in the last 25 to 30 years have come to the northwest part of the U.S. because they felt that it was a suitable area to plant their vines to make just as good wine as they do back in France. A couple things is, if you ever noticed or if you looked at the globe or the map, the northwest corner, which is Washington State and Oregon, fall in the same latitude that France does.
Oh.
Okay.
They share similar climates. They share similar soil profiles, not exactly the same, but that combination is really suitable for growing French varieties like Pinot Noir,
I have a
Pinot Gris.
question. I have a question. I'm sorry.
Do it.
Is it Massachusetts or maybe New Hampshire or maybe Vermont or maybe Maine? I don't know, but somewhere in the Northeast. Isn't that on the same latitude too?
Well, you might have to pull up a map so we can see that. But
But we don't grow any of the grapes around.
we do, but that's a very good question because that gets asked as well when you really get deep into this.
Okay.
But yes, that's why you start to see this production in the New England or the northeast corner, like Long Island, like the Finger Lakes, like Cape Cod has plenty of vineyards, Rhode Island, and so forth. Not so much in New Hampshire and above, but there's definitely there are vineyards that grow grapes. But the landscape in Washington State and Oregon, because it's very mountainous, also has a very unique, distinct microclimate that also contributes to the grape growing that goes on there.
So that's the difference.
The science there is in nature there as well, has a lot of contributing factors that allow it to produce wines of high quality.
Okay.
Unfortunately, here we don't have the same landscape, even though we might be on the same latitude. But what we're lacking is a term called terroir, which is basically the combination of soil, climate, and everything else that goes along with making wine.
That's a fancy word. That's a fancy word. I like that.
Terroir. Terroir. I think I spelled that right. But anyways.
He even spelled it for us. My goodness.
Right? But yes, I mean, if for those of us that want a French wine experience from the US, the northwest corner of the country is where you go. And the wines there are nothing like California, in my opinion.
Okay.
Really?
To clarify, the grape is the same, but it's really just a difference in language essentially, because you're saying Pinot Gris, that's the French word for grape. It's the same grape. It's really just
Right.
Right? Okay.
Correct. So Pinot Gris grows in the north east corner, mainly in France, in the Alsace area, which borders Switzerland and so forth. And there, again, you're talking about different, terrain, soils, microclimates. So you get a different wine when you get Pinot Gris from France. You get a different wine when you get Pinot Gris from Oregon. You get a different wine when you get Pinot Grigio from Italy. But they're all from the same grape, is what's fascinating. So depending on where that grape grows, soil, climate, and the skills of the winemaker dictate what you're going to have in the glass.
Do you have a favorite, Foti? Do you have a favorite, Katherine? I don't know.
Um,
I don't know enough to say that I have a favorite, but Foti, maybe you do. Katherine, maybe you do.
I do. I not, ladies first. Go ahead, Katherine.
Do you just mean between Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio, Ari?
Well, I don't know. Like me, again, this is a random question, so
Yeah.
maybe you don't even know. But I'm just saying,
let me interject.
Yeah,
For me personally, for me, it's as time goes on and I drink a lot of wine. For me, it's less about who's making it. For me, it's more about where it's coming from.
That's my question. That's my question.
Yeah.
What's the location?
Yeah. For me, it's location. When I look at the label, there's plenty of winemakers that I have no clue about. There's so many out there. There's thousands of winemakers in just one area or one from a country. But I dig deeper to the location, and when a wine is produced basically and labeled by the exact location that it's from, for me that's like a defined wine. Like it's coming from a defined source. And then when I get geeky and read about these areas, I know exactly what to expect from a style perspective. Now, I tip my hat off to any of the producers that are out there who are really all about making wine based on where they're from, not so much a product out of an idea that they want to create some kind of new concept, if that makes any sense.
It does. But you didn't answer the question.
So me personally, I'm a big fan of Pinot Grigios from two areas. There's an area in northern Italy close to Veneto, a little north, called Friuli, and an area called Alto Adige, which is right on the border in the mountains where it's cold. And for me, white wines that come from a cooler climate, they are very crisp and refreshing because they don't have enough time to develop sugars in warmer areas, right? So think about more sun, grape gets more sugars. Not as much sun, the grapes are greener, makes them a little more tart and so forth. So that's my go-to when it comes to Pinot Grigio. When it comes to Pinot Gris, I enjoy Pinot Gris from Alsace, France. That's just my personal. Doesn't mean that they're better than wines from other parts of the world. I mean, Pinot Grigios and Pinot Gris from other parts of the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just going off of what you said, because I didn't know any specific names off the top of my head from my favorite, but I definitely enjoy drier, crisper, cleaner taste, like you were just describing from the colder climate. So I think I would prefer colder climate.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me as well.
So I think in this segment, if I'm not mistaken, Katherine, we all have two selections. The Pinot Grigio that we're having is from the Veneto area, which is typically labeled Venezia on your bottle, right? Actually, I think you have Venezia, I have Friuli.
Yes,
both Northern Italian, right? Chris is a very popular, well-known Pinot Grigio in the U.S. market. I'm having Costella Pinot Grigio from Friuli, and that's also from a Northern Italian region. Small producer, but makes a very good Pinot Grigio. And we're also exploring Pinot Gris we're both having Pinot Gris from a Willamette Valley, Oregon producer. You have A to Z, which is a pretty familiar, popular winery. And I have a smaller producer from Elk Cove Vineyards in Willamette Valley. Small
Oh,
producer, makes really good wine. They make exceptional Pinot Noirs, but this is their Pinot Gris. So the goal here is for us to taste together collectively. Ari has the same wines as I have. I'm sorry, Catherine, that he has the same wines as me,
It's
but
okay. Some variety.
variety is great. But the goal here is to kind of understand and see the differences of how Pinot this variety is in Italy versus Oregon, U.S. or Willamette Valley. All right, so let's start pouring some of this wine out so we can really see what these wines are like. And we're going to start with the Pinot Grigio first.
okay.
And you asked why, didn't
Sounds
you, Ari?
good.
Why we want to start with Pinot Grigio?
I did ask why, and I
So,
delivered an answer.
so let's start. So Pinot Grigio would be, in my opinion, the lighter of the two that we're going to try. We'll talk about that in a second.
No, you said the lighter of the two, and that's because of the where it was made, or because of what style it is?
It's because where it's made and because it's stylistically made in this fashion.
Okay. Okay.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
So, right off the bat, aromas here are very like vibrant. I can smell a little bit of fruit. I can feel the coldness too from the glass, and then mouth-watering textures, crisp, subtle fruit, clean finish, light enough to feel refreshing, but enough flavor to make it tasty.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some more flavor in this Pinot Grigio than what I've had in the past. Just your standard, you were saying at an event or something, you order a Pinot Grigio. With this one, as I'm tasting it slowly, I actually do get a bit more flavor. It is still light enough and refreshing, but I do notice a bit more of like the fruit and the layers to it.
okay. So
And that's because we
it's
chose
where you guys are, right? Is it hot today?
super hot.
Is
Oh
it
yeah.
is this a refreshing, like nice
Oh,
wine to have on a date like today?
this
Yes.
is exactly what you need on a day like this.
Awesome.
Yeah,
To start
absolutely.
to start any experience. So yeah, this would go down pretty nice on a day like this. But in general, so it has its place. It has its place when it's warm out. It's refreshing. But for me, it has great textures for a light white wine. That this would be great at the dinner table too with food. It's not just a sipping wine. Where some Pinot Grigios are made in a fashion that's just so stylistically lighter and a little blander. Where here, I mean, this would definitely be a great complement to food too.
It wouldn't
Right?
overwhelm
So
it in any way.
Yeah. What would you eat with this? What would be a good pairing?
for me, this is great with grilled seafood. Definitely, we're big fans of seafood, being that we're Mediterranean. Light, sharp cheeses, seasonal salads. You can run there's so many great creative dishes that are out there. I mean, different spreads and dips that have a presence of lemon and olive oil and a little bit of garlic. Definitely would be suitable for a wine of this nature.
All right, Catherine, if you haven't experienced some of this food that he mentioned, then Foti, you have to make this food so you could experience it the way you described.
Well, you
else-
just challenged us,
don't
so we're gonna do a segment with food on it. We're gonna have wine and food together.
That's
Yes.
wait, let's do that when I'm in Boston, please.
Yes, you got it.
Perfect.
So that's basically the 411 on Pinot Grigio as we're tasting together, right?
Are you trying to use like hip slang right now or something?
Yeah, is it working?
The
People don't really
411?
say 411 anymore.
I'm gonna call a 911 on Foti's slang.
Yeah, we don't need to say 411.
It wouldn't sound as good if I said that we just got the Google on this Pinot Grigio. I think the 411 flows better.
This is fresh and deaf.
So now we're gonna move on to Pinot Gris, right?
All right.
So we had.
You guys
so
see
we,
me?
Yeah.
She froze a bit. She's back though. Are you back?
There you are.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay. You froze for a second and we didn't know what happened.
Sorry, guys.
I was in the middle of making fun of him, so it's okay.
So all is well. All is well.
All is well. So what I was just
As
mentioning
Foti would say, it's all good.
is now we're going to move into our Pinot Gris selection,
Okay.
and we'll see the differences between Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris.
So let me ask, Katherine, did Foti made you open 2 bottles today?
Correct.
I did.
So you're gonna have to finish these 2 bottles because they're gonna go, they're gonna go bad within a day. So.
I mean, I don't want to waste wine.
Right?
That's a myth. That's a myth. You're just trying to get her to drink the 2 bottles.
You're at a friend's house, right? Just it's a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday. Just finish them off.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have someone help me drink them. It's fine.
No judgment here because I'm gonna finish probably maybe 3 bottles.
I've always wondered though. You said that's a myth, Foti. Is that so? With the cap on this afterwards, if it's in the fridge, it should stay the same, right?
I'm so glad you answered that. That you asked that question. So yeah, I get the question all the time, like how long does my wine last after I open it? So white wine after it's been opened, and especially with a screw cap, you can get about anywhere to 4 to 5 days in your refrigerator before it starts to lose flavor.
I mean,
is it the oxidation?
So what happens is, what's cool about white wine and why it lasts longer than red wine is that so temperature is a big deal. So when it's cold, it just basically stops the wine from turning. Versus red wine, which if red wine sits on your counter after you open it, during room temperature conditions, if it's warm enough, the wine will start to turn quickly. So your red wine has about a day or maybe 2 days at most.
Okay.
If you would put it on the counter and just like have it a day later.
I was gonna say, in my mind, I'm thinking red wine because that's what mostly 4 to 5 days. I was like, I believe you, but I don't think I've experienced that myself.
But you can definitely get a lot more out of your white wine in the refrigerator as far as keeping the flavor and the freshness from it.
Well, that's an actually interesting point.
I'll give you one more tip. Red wine. Most people don't do this. They find that it's like unorthodox to do this, but after you've opened your red bottle and you can't finish the rest, but you don't want to like have it the next day or throw it away, put your red bottle in the refrigerator with the cork in it, and that will buy you.
Ask you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because you said the temperature can make it turn.
So basically, keeping your red wine in a cold environment after it's been opened will keep the wine from turning any further because it's cold now, so it can't really progress into the next stage of being oxidized or turning.
Okay. Well, even if it's unorthodox, if it works, if it makes it last longer.
Yes. These are just things that, I recommend over and over, and some folks still have a hard time kind of like getting over that hump of, is this right?
I'm telling you right now, I can't do it. I can't do it. Red wine, dude, if I don't drink it within the first day or 2, I'll drink it the next day. But after that, I don't care if I put it in the fridge or whatever.
Well,
I can't drink
it. Can I tell you, most of us psychologically already think that it's not going to taste good, so it's not going to taste good.
That's my problem.
I have a lot of mental.
I have a lot of psychological problems, and that's one of them.
Well, we're gonna give you some therapy to get past that. Okay.
I need
liquid therapy.
Yes, liquid therapy. But
that's why I'm here talking to you guys. You guys are helping me.
Anything we can do.
You got it, brother. So let's give this Pinot Gris a sip.
Sure.
So right away for me, this Pinot Gris, because it's kind of warmed up a little, is releasing some really intense aromas. For me, this is very tropical as far as aromas go. So the aromas here are more pronounced, where in the Pinot Grigio, the aromas were subtle, but they're a little more like vibrant. Here, they're just like flowing with a lot of it. For me, it's like, you ever, what's that that character that has all the fruit on the top of her head?
The Disney character.
So I got pineapples, bananas, peaches, right? So for me, like
Yeah.
this is what's being released as this is warming up. And I can already tell like this is going to be a fuller, riper white wine just from the aroma.
Mm.
Mm. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, textures are rounder here, fuller. The wine just rolls off your palate. It still has a lingering finish. For one instance, this is weird. I don't know if this I was like when I was sipping this, we were talking about bananas, and for some reason I got like this like flash of Gerber baby banana food.
Well, we did just say it's all mental, Foti.
You can tell how immature I am because just the mention makes me laugh.
But I'm just trying to through this virtual presence is kind of give the distinct differences of what's happening. So, you know, these are two wines made from the same grape. They're coming from two different parts of the world, and yet they're really so different than each other. Like blindly, you'll never, in my opinion, blindfolded taste these two wines and determine that they come from the same grape.
Mm.
Right?
The Pinot
So,
Grigio is more bright.
bright, yes. Very bright, very fresh, clean. The Pinot Gris is a little more serious, has more depth, more textures, more flavor, more layers.
Yeah,
So
that
let
makes
me
sense.
let me ask each of you, Katherine, which of the two do you prefer?
I think I prefer the Pinot Grigio because I said I do like my wines a bit more on the drier side, and not to say that this is sweet, but you do get much more flavor. And if I'm drinking white wine, I like it to be very refreshing and bright, as I just mentioned.
Okay.
I think I like the Grigio.
I'm gonna challenge both of you is that we're gonna and that's basically what we're gonna get as a response from the majority of folks that try these side by side, because now we're in the middle of summer and Pinot Grigio just fits better. But fast forward, let's go into the fall and winter and let's have Pinot Gris. And I think that the Pinot Gris will feel a little more suitable than the Pinot Grigio because of the environment that we're going to be in come November, December for white wine.
I can see this working well in fall as well, like a nice transition type of wine.
Definitely, it's definitely a fall favorite when it comes to white wines, because obviously we like to drink according to the seasons that we're in. And we can revisit this on another segment when we do whites for the colder weather. But yes, I mean this would be definitely Pinot Grigio would be the chosen one during this time.
So Katherine understands. We've had many conversations about where you are, what you're doing, what time of year it is, and what that effect has on your consumption and your enjoyment of wine. It's a true in real life thing that like where you are, what you're doing, like are you having a great time, are you partying, are you have your friends around you, this really affects like your enjoyment. And you know, it's a psychological thing that I think affects a lot of things. Wine is definitely one of them. Wine is a very social thing most of the time. So, you know.
No, I completely agree.
Well, I'm gonna add something to what Ari's saying right now. Ari's mentioning a couple of very key factors, but I think we in the U.S., I should say, are slowly becoming a society or a consumer base where wine is becoming part of our culture slowly. You know, it's part of our dining experience. It's part of our social experience. It's part of our learning experience when it comes to the gastronomy of the U.S., where in the beginning, wine wasn't always the chosen beverage, but now it's becoming slowly embedded into our food and wine culture, but in our food culture as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I remember distinctly when I went to, a wine experience with both of you and just going through the dinner, but being very mindful about it, making note of every single sip, with every single bite and how they paired. It was a completely different experience for me. And now when I drink wine, you know, if you think about it more, it actually does have an effect on how you enjoy it and how it tastes. So yeah, you're absolutely right with it.
You're 100% right on that note, that the fact that we're not, so this, what we're doing now, and you know, we're discussing this, is happening anyways in your personal experience when you're having dinner. It's just that you're not focused on, you're focused more on conversation. You're focused more on your guests and your friends and family, what have you. But then when you actually stop and kind of highlight what you're doing, you really start to see a different appreciation for what's happening between the combination of the food and the wine together.
Right.
Yeah. That's
It's
it.
the
Yeah.
combination.
It's I mean, it's a great thing to understand these dynamics. I'm sure a lot of people experience it, but like they don't really like sit down and think about like the actual dynamics of what's happening.
And because we hear this often enough is why we put these segments together, because it's so overwhelming for many of us to kind of understand and distinguish like what should I do, what should I get, what should I drink. Well, I like this, but I don't want to really try something. What if I don't like it?
Yeah.
So these segments are specifically put together for our audience and our guests to help you get past that unknown. So it puts things into perspective, but also kind of inspires you to kind of explore outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And to have the confidence of knowing that you can try something different like this, and it can, you know, maybe just a subtle difference, but the more that you explore, I mean, if you're mindful about it, then absolutely it's gonna be a great experience.
Yeah, and if you're like on like some like, you know, Greek island in the future post-COVID, and you're having a great time, like just order any wine on the menu as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that sounds amazing.
It does. Wow, Foti.
Oh,
Again,
this kind of puts things into perspective for our audience. Pinot Grigio, please don't leave it, you know, don't forget about it. A lot of folks are still, you know, exploring other varieties, but every so often, you know, we'll still come back to Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris for that matter. So for those of us that haven't had Pinot Gris, hopefully this segment inspires you to actually get a bottle and try it. And it doesn't matter where it comes from. It can be French, it can be from Oregon, it can be from South Africa, California. We highly, highly encourage you to try Pinot Gris. And for that matter, we thank you for joining us. Continue to join us on our future segments of interesting and fun segments just like this to help you understand.
On that note, we want to welcome Katherine. She will be co-hosting future episodes with us. You guys literally don't have to stare at the haggard faces of me and Foti alone anymore. We have a new perspective. We have a youthful perspective, and we want to thank Katherine for joining us. And you guys will be seeing her on our future episodes as well. And awesome information. Both of you guys, thank you so much. Foti, you look like you want
pleasure.
To
and then before we sign off, for those of us that are viewing this segment right now or in a very short time, is we've got a really fun, interesting, and special. We always use the word special. Everything is special.
Everything's special. Everything's fun. Everything's interesting.
This Thursday, July 23rd, we're hosting a webinar from our Vines Unknown series. We're exploring the island of Crete in Greece. And we have two very special guests that are joining us for that segment. We've got our good friend, Johnny Livanos, who is, the part of the importing company called Diamond Importers that are bringing some fantastic Cretan wines to the U.S. market.
Yes, but Johnny Livanos, his family also owns like some of the hottest restaurants in Manhattan.
Oh,
right.
Like, Katherine, we gotta like introduce you to this dude. Like, when COVID is over, please, God, soon, like we're gonna go to Manhattan and we're gonna party, because this
field trip.
This dude has like the best restaurants in New York.
Make sure you get your permission slip signed. But But
I'm not that young.
no, I'm talking to Ari.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
So
For everything I do. But yes.
we definitely want you to join us. Is this is for us behind the scenes. It's a process, and we're very blessed that we have the abilities to connect with folks that are in this world of some of the best restaurants in the world, some of the best wines that are being produced that are out globally, and we're able to bring them together in one setting in our podcast or our webinars, where it's a special treat for us, and we want it to be a special treat for you as well. So we want you to join us. It's free to sign up. It's already listed on our app at urbanwineclub.co. We'll definitely be sending out invites. The more the merrier.
Katherine, hopefully you could join us as well. We would love to have you.
I will be there. Absolutely.
It's very special to me because I am half Cretan.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know this.
Good to know.
I can tell from the volume of your voice.
If you look at me wrong, I will stab you as a true Cretan would, because that's where the term Cretan comes from. Have you ever heard the term Cretan? You're like a Cretan.
But that evolved because in Crete now everybody has like a rifle, so you're not gonna get stabbed, you're gonna get shot. From what I understand.
So there's this whole thing that's known about Sicily where there's vendettas. And like if you cross somebody the wrong way, they're gonna set a vendetta against you. Crete is like the original place where this is happening. Like there's villages in Greece where there's like no women. I mean, no men, because they're all killed from vendettas.
I'm gonna go there.
This will not be part of our segment on Thursday, July 23rd. We're just gonna be sipping wine. But we definitely want you to join us this coming Thursday. And if you can't make that one, we got plenty of segments lined up. If you follow us through all of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, our app, and so forth, we got a lot lined up. We've got a lot of interesting guests that are signing on with us. So we're very and super excited that we've got a ton of great stuff that's coming up. So we definitely want you to join us, and we appreciate you spending the time with us.
All right. Thank you
guys. Thanks for having me, guys.
Katherine, thank you for spending an hour of your day with these two haggard dudes that are like just rambling on all the time. But thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned for the webinars. Log into the website, get on our social media, and we will see everybody next time. Thank you.
And if I can sign off, drink better wine.
Drink better wine.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.